This week's Common Sense Award goes to the United Nations. Now, this week the UN voted 138-9 to approve Palestine as a non-member observer state of the United Nations, which is the most recognition they've ever gotten, and it's a step in the right direction towards a two-state solution. Now, this vote does not mean they are a member, and does not mean they get to vote in the UN. It just acknowledges their existence. It's also noteworthy that this doesn't establish official borders for Palestine, but it sort of implicitly acknowledges the 1967 borders. For those of you who may not know the history of that region in the Middle East, Israel was basically granted the Palestinian lands in 1947 by the United Nations, and the Palestinians weren't involved in approving this, so naturally their response was, "The fuck are you doing? This is our land. You can't just take it." The occupied territory expanded over the years to the point that Israel now has more than 70% of the land in the region. And I think that since Israel has been there now for over 50 years, and in one way or another all of the modern day countries stole land from somebody else at one time, I don't think it's a solution to give the entire area back to the Palestinians. That's kind of like the US giving all of our land back to the Native Americans. But I do think the only thing that even vaguely resembles a solution is a 50-50 divvy of the land, and you can even go as far as to build a gigantic wall in between that split, and both sides having statehood and membership in the international community and membership to the United Nations. Now, extremists on both sides, both Hamas and Netanyahu's war hawk Likud party, may disagree, but I simply don't care what either one of them has to say because they're both ultra-nationalist idiot war hawks that, frankly, I don't think are even interested in peace. The only countries that voted against the measure, by the way, were, of course, the US and Israel, and some of our bitch-slapped, whipped allies like Canada and some Pacific Island nations. I should also mention that the day after they passed this resolution, the government of Israel approved new settlements to be built in the occupied territories. Very mature of you there, Bibi. Little overreaction for a 70%, 30% divvy of the land in your favor, and not even full membership status for the Palestinians. But anyway, the UN gets this week's Common Sense Award.